Well, we're back, and once again today we're talking with Anthony Greco, who has a story to tell about his experience with a fire that took place at one of his homes that he was working on here in Pahrump. And with that, I'm just going to turn it over to Anthony and let him tell you more about his experience. Anthony?
Thanks, Andy. Uh, when we left off, it was I was talking about the fire marshal and the firefighters being at the location. I went back to the house 2 or 3 times. It could possibly even 4 times because I could walk from one house to another. I live at 5980 Pahrump Valley Boulevard, and the house that we're talking about is at 5920. There's only one house in between them. That was one of the reasons why Kathy purchased the house, because it was in walking distance from my other location, where I have my parents live, and my brother, before he passed away, he also lived there too. I was getting, they said in the fire marshal's report that I kept going back to the scene, and I seemed agitated, and I was agitated.
I'd be agitated
Yeah.
too.
First of all, I just had, the house is not in my name, but it's my fiance's home. I'm pretty upset that somebody violated her and myself, that had the audacity to break into my home, or our home, or Kathy's home, whichever legal term you want to use. And I have every right to be upset. Somebody violated Kathy and myself by breaking into our home and damaging it. You should be aggravated. Did you ever see anybody whose house was knocked down in a tornado and they were dancing around happy? We were violated. Someone broke into our home, and we wanted to make sure that the investigation was going to go right, because I want to find the person who broke into that home and burned our home. That is our home. That's Kathy's home. She's been violated. So yes, I am going to be angry. I'm angry just talking about it. Okay, because that is a violation. It's somebody steals your car, or breaks a window in your house, or breaks into your home and tosses your furniture around and does things like that. It's a violation. You should be upset. If you wouldn't be upset, there's something mentally wrong with you. If you could have somebody break into your home, damage it, and not be upset, there's something wrong with you. And especially that I have firefighters that I've been going after for a while. And one of the questions that they said I was acting very odd was, I asked one of the firefighters why she had a union logo on a uniform that the town pays for. Our tax dollars pay for their uniforms, and we have a union logo on it that we paid for, and we pay to clean. That union is not part of this town. It's not part of this, the firefighters of Pahrump. It is not. Okay, they're not supposed to represent themselves on uniforms that we pay for. So if I was agitated, I'm agitated now just talking about it. Okay, so if he thought I was acting a little weird, he said I was standing outside trying to hear his investigation. No, I was outside the house wanting to know what was going on, because we were broken into and violated. Now, we have an investigation. He's saying it's a crime scene, so it was not allowed to be in there. Well, if it's a crime scene, when I went back to the house, and I turned around and told him, I'm not coming back anymore, here's the key. I gave it to the fire marshal, said, here's the key. I have places to go to. You secure this home. I told him where to put the key so I could find it. As I'm coming back from where I went, I noticed that the fire marshal's gone, but the fire department's still there. I asked the firefighters, I says, what's going on? He says, well, we're checking for hot spots. I says, checking for hot spots? I says, there's so much water in this house, there's no way there could be any hot spots. I says, how are you going to secure the place? I gave the key to fire. He says, oh, he gave us the key. I said, the fire marshal gave you the key that I told him to secure my home, and you're walking in and out of my house. It's supposed to be a crime scene. Well, first of all, if it's a crime scene, how is he's in charge of the crime scene. How is he logging in who comes in the home, what time they come in, and what time they leave, if he's gone and he leaves them there? How is he keeping track of the crime scene that he said's a crime scene?
You know, Anthony, having watched some of these shows on television where they have crime scenes, I do see people coming and going, but they're sort of restricted. I didn't realize that they would ever keep a log who comes in and goes out.
If it's a crime scene, and they have to do an investigation on, well, who did the crime? So you got to find out. So you have to keep a log on who is in and out, because if they start finding fingerprints, then you do a process of elimination on who was there, and then you go further on the prints. Okay? Of course, you're going to find my prints there. You're going to find my father's, my mother's, Kathy's mother, Kathy's sister, Kathy's brother-in-law, friends of mine who came into work there, numerous people that helped me do work there. They would have to have a log after they do their initial crime scene to eliminate their people. Then they would ask, well, who did you have in this home? And then they would do a process of elimination from them. Whatever fingerprints are left, okay, don't forget, the structure did not burn down to the ground. So you're going to have fingerprints. There's got to be fingerprints on people that did it. Okay, a person that broke into this home, okay, if they're a professional, they're going to have gloves on. If they're not a professional, if they're just like some crackhead looking for some metal or ripping out piping or a hot water heater or something like that, they're not. They're going to leave fingerprints. There should be fingerprints on the doorknobs. There should be fingerprints on any material that was in there. If I had a lot of tools in the house, they might have picked up a tool and say, hey, this ain't worth any money, and dropped it on the floor and only take what they could carry. So you have to do a process of elimination, especially in something that's as drastic and high dollar as this. So there has to be a crime scene logbook. Okay?
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying.
At least you would expect that there would be something.
Right,
to
there's
keep
got to
track
be a
of
crime
who's
scene
in.
logbook. So now, who's
Well,
in charge?
let me go back one second, Anthony.
Okay.
I really want to. If there is no logbook, there at least has to be some control over who's allowed onto the scene.
Exactly, and that would be the person who's in charge of the investigation,
Which would be.
the state fire marshal.
So.
It's not the police.
Did
It's
the state fire marshal ever set, like, and I know it's hard, did the state fire marshal ever set
a perimeter.
a perimeter and say no one is allowed be inside this perimeter without permissions? They have to go through somebody?
No, he just said to me that this is a crime scene. You're not allowed here.
And you're the only one that's not allowed there?
Right.
Okay, I can understand if it's a crime scene that they think it is, that they don't want you there. I'm having difficulty with how many people you say kept traipsing in and out of the place.
Oh yeah, and unlimited, because there was a lot of time I wasn't there. Don't forget, I think this took anywhere between 5 and 8 hours. I'm not sure, because I don't know how long he was there, because I was gone.
Did they ever come back?
No, the fire marshal never came back.
Did they take pictures?
I'm not sure. I didn't see any of that happen. He has to have it.
Did they take any samples of what's left? You know, sometimes if they suspect that somebody has started it with chemicals, they'll take some samples to analyze whether there was any residues on anything, or.
Well, I know that there was a can of mineral spirits there that was gone after he was gone. Now, I don't know if he took it, or I don't know if the fire department took it. I wouldn't know, because I wasn't there. And I would say that I don't know how his investigation stopped. He should have secured the location. He had firefighters in there. I don't know what the firefighters did after he was gone. They could have did anything. You know what I'm saying? So if he was in charge of the investigation, how could he leave people there after? Now, then I had to secure the house because the back door was broke into, so I nailed a 2x4 across the door that goes from the garage to the backyard. I nailed the 2x4 across that.
Anthony, when they were done that day, were you allowed back into the place?
They left the key where I told them to. I could just go in and out anytime I wanted.
So after that, after they were done that day, you were able to have access to the house?
Right. I guess they took enough information thinking that they had what they needed, and I guess that was
okay.
good.
Okay.
I see. Still at this point, Okay, we're talking about August of 2010, and we're July of 2012, and I still don't know what the fire marshal is what's going on in his head. Okay, I don't know what kind of investigation he did yet. That's one of the things that I'd like to talk about shortly on where this is going as far as court-wise.
So have you, has the fire marshal filed a complaint? Who files a complaint if, as you say, you're suspected of an issue here? Who files a complaint?
The fire marshal brings it to, I think he brings it to the DA, but I don't know if they're working for the state on this because he's the state fire marshal, and then I don't know the procedure here. I don't know how it works. I haven't had an attorney that would sit down and talk to me that even tells me what the procedure is. That's a whole different ball game when we get to the attorneys. That's. Oof.
We did an inquiry to the state. Actually, I didn't do it, but it was a fellow named John Bosta. Did an inquiry to the state on an issue up in Amargosa, and the response we got back from the state was that the state relies on the district attorneys to apply and enforce the laws that the state passes. The state normally doesn't get involved in that.
Okay.
So I would imagine the same thing is happening here with the district attorney. State fire marshal probably, I'm only guessing, probably says, we think we have a problem, and then probably refers it to the DA. Wouldn't you think that sound logical?
I guess so, but with the people, the professionals that I know from back east, when I talk to them on what's going on, they just want to run their heads through a wall. They cannot believe the process here. As far as you're talking about, I'm going to be going to court for arson, insurance fraud, and another something else, but I was never even arrested. I mean, I don't know how the situation works. A matter of fact, how I found out, and I'm going to make this real quick because I know we're going to be running into a hard break. How I found out, today is July 23rd, and it's a year ago today my brother passed away. And I was at his funeral in New Jersey at the end of July when somebody called me up and said, you know you were supposed to be in court the other day? I said, for what? They said, well, you're being brought up on arson charges. I said, well, how am I supposed to be in court if nobody told me? He says, well, you didn't get any paperwork? I says, I got nothing. So here I am. I got a warrant out for me. I'm in Jersey at my brother's funeral. I have a warrant out for me and Kathy. She's with me. I'm with my two parents that are in their mid-80s. And I'm in Jersey, and I drove there with my parents to bring the remains of my brother there for a funeral. And I'm sitting in New Jersey with a warrant out for me.
And with that, we're going to take a short break here, and then we're going to come back and hear more of Anthony's story about his experience with the lawyer and going to court.